What's up, everyone? Today we're taking a look at the Marvel Legends Juggernaut Wave cable figure from Hasbro. All right, so here he is, and right off the bat, I really like this figure. I was a bit disappointed, I think like everybody else was, when we found out that we were getting a cable figure, but it's a more recent style, and it's not his classic X-Force look from the original comic by Rob Liefeld. That's obviously the classic. I think that's everybody's favorite. I don't know how it couldn't be. And I'm a longtime Cable fan, so that's what I wanted. It's not what we got, but I still really like this figure. So let's take a look at him and go over, sculpt and paint and all of that. So we can see right off the bat that this is a pretty big figure. Like, he's not tall, but he's pretty thick. He's a stocky figure, which is good because Cable's a huge guy. So that's a plus to begin with. I really think they nailed the size of this character pretty well. We'll take a look at the head first, and I think this is probably one of the key points of this figure is the head is really well done. I mean, we've got the techno-organic side of things. There's all sculpted line work in there, which all has a little bit of wash in it. We've got the scar on his right eye, and you can see like the wrinkles in his face. The hair does need a bit of a wash, I think. But overall, it looks pretty good. I've got a bit of gray from the hair on my ear there. And then you can see the techno-organic going down his neck and into his arm. And this has a really dirty wash. It's dirtier than the rest of it, so I'm not sure if that's a miss or if it's something that every figure has. That said, I really think that the head is spot on, at least for this iteration of Cable. We've got, this vest on, which is sculpted pretty well. I think it's got a lot of nice detail to it. You can see there's different paint apps on it, and then it's got a lot of nice just bits and pieces to it to make it kind of pop from the rest of the figure. He's got pouches all over him. I guess that's maybe an homage to the original, because that's a Liefeld specialty, pouches everywhere. And then he's got the belt hanging off of him with all this sculpted detail. You've got the belts and the buckles, all the nice pouches all over him. And then you've got the sculpted straps all over the legs, as well as the shin guards and the knee pads, which they're kind of lacking in paint. They don't really have anything on them. We've got these like bullet holes that don't have any detail on them. They could have used at least a wash, which I may add myself at some point. But they add a little depth to the figure, but they're kind of all over. He's pockmarked with them, and they don't stick out unless you're really looking for them. The arm, though, is I think the biggest positive on this figure. It's really well done. All of these lines are sculpted in. They have a really deep wash in them, and then that leads into the hand, which has the techno-organic fingers, and then the pads on the hand. And that's on both of them. So I think the sculpt of this figure is really good. I really like him. He's a solid figure. As far as paint goes, where he has it, it's pretty good. So we've got the silver on the face is really good, and then we've got the red eye. We've got the painted scars. I like that a lot. The head, like I said, the hair could use a wash, but the paint on the left arm is pretty exceptional as far as I'm concerned. I really like it. I don't have any complaints in that regard. All the other colors are kind of muted, but they work well together. This color scheme is nice. And then you've got the X on the right shoulder, so that's really cool. I'm very pleased with the overall look of this figure, even though it's not the Cable that I really wanted. As far as articulation goes, we've got a head that is on a ball joint, and it doesn't have a great deal of rocker motion. It can go down a little bit, but that's about it. And then all the way around. Arms go all the way out. And then we've got full range of motion. We've got a bicep swivel. We have got double jointed elbows. We have a swivel and a hinge at the wrist. And that's pretty standard for Marvel Legends. We've got an ab crunch. He goes over just a little bit. He goes back not much at all. We do have a waist twist. And I think it's a pretty solid twist. He looks really good. It doesn't, and the belts kind of add to the depth of the figure, and it kind of hides this joint, so you don't see the kind of wonky nature of this kind of joint where the chest is sitting halfway over the waist and it's sticking out funny. We've got legs. They don't go out too far, just only about yay far. They go all the way out, and then they go back a decent way. We've got thigh rotation. We have got a double jointed knee. It doesn't go back too far. I think just because the legs are bulkier, they don't go back too far. There is no boot cut, so no rotation there. But there is a hinge which goes pretty far back, but not really forward because of the shin guard. And then there is a rocker side-to-side action on the ankle. So he's decent for articulation. I mean, I'm not going to say he's loaded to the brim with it, but he's got enough, and I've been able to put him in some decent poses so far. So I am pleased with the presentation on Cable here. Now, as far as accessories go, we have 2 guns, and I don't know if you would consider this a third accessory, but we have an ammo clip. It goes in one of the guns, so I'd say it's not a third. We've got this larger rifle, and the ammo clip goes in just the stock of the gun, and he can hold it in either hand. You can get him in a two-handed pose. With this one, it's a little hard sometimes just to get him to do it, but you know, you can get him in there, and I'm not going to go through the motions of doing it, but you can get him to hold this big gun like that. The right hand is a trigger finger hand. The left kind of is, but not as much. But you can get him to hold both guns. It's just going to be easier in this one because they do have holes for the trigger finger. This is a shorter gun. They both look the same. I mean, they're this kind of like, I don't know, what would you call this? Maybe like a gunmetal, but it's kind of got a little green tint to it. So not a whole lot of like paint detail on them, but they have a lot of sculpted detail. At least this one does. And I like them. They kind of look like a Cable style gun with you know, like futuristic tech in them and whatnot. So they fit the character. I don't think they offer a lot in terms of aesthetics, but you know, at least we got 2 of them, and you can have him kind of doing a dual wielding pose. All right. I mean, overall, when talking about this figure in the context of this wave, this Juggernaut wave, I'd say he is my second favorite male character. He's probably my second favorite overall, actually. I do like him more than Deadpool. I like him more than Iceman for sure, and definitely Havoc. I think Wolverine's the best character in the wave. But this Cable figure, while he's not the classic, he's not the classic X-Force Cable that we kind of grew up with. But he's a really good figure. I like everything about him. My only real gripes are, you know, the hair doesn't have a wash, and that's kind of a stupid little thing. It's not unexpected for a figure of this level. And those bullet holes don't have any paint on them, which that seems odd, but I can also see that not being too weird for a Marvel Legends figure either. So in the context of this wave, I think this is a solid figure. He looks awesome. I love the techno-organic virus parts on his body. Going back to do this review, I really found that a lot of things about this figure that I didn't really pay attention to when I first opened him. I opened this figure when I was in the process of moving. So I opened a bunch of figures and then immediately packed them up just to see what they were, and then I got rid of them. So this gave me a chance to look at this guy in detail, and I found a lot of things that I really liked. The paint all over the face, that scar, the red eye. You know, I even kind of like the outfit. It's not the outfit, but it's a cool outfit. So I think this is a really solid figure. I think he's probably at this point, you know, as of this review, I think he's like $10 on Amazon or something stupid. So if you're a Cable fan, if you're an X-Men fan, this is a good figure to get. He's solid. He's a really well-built figure, and I couldn't really recommend him too much more. Obviously, I'm kind of raving about him at the moment, but you know, I think he's a great addition to this roster, and you know, all around good figure. So that's going to do it for another Toy Bro review. As always, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know down in the comments, do you agree or disagree with my thoughts on this guy? And until next time.